Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. Well, today is the third Saturday of the month, which means it's time for Saturdays with Sharon, hosted by Dr. Nandita Shah, all the way from India, with a lot of special guests today. Please welcome her back to the show. It's so good to see you.
It's great to be here, Chef AJ. And today's topic is is type 2 diabetes a life sentence? I know that everyone here knows that it's not, but we're going to talk about why it's not. And before we get there, I'm going to ask Prema, who is with me, to tell her story. Prema she attended one of our seminars, and then she was my patient under consultations, and she was on medications for both diabetes and hypertension, and now she's off all of that. So Prema, do share your story with everyone.
Hello everyone, this is Prema, 62 years old. I'm a homemaker from Hyderabad. I had been diabetic for the last 18 years. Every time I would go to my diabetologist, my oral diabetic medication would always be on the increase. There was a time when my diabetologist told me, now you have come to the end of the road for oral medication. The next step would be insulin shots. That was when I told myself, I'm not going to pop in any more pills. I'm going to take health into my hands. Coincidentally, at that time, I attended a workshop on reversing diabetes and hypertension conducted by Dr. Nandita Shah in Hyderabad in 2019. I was surprised and totally amazed with the dishes given to us for breakfast, lunch, and evening snack. They were delicious, and all of them were dairy-free and oil-free. That was when I dropped dairy from my life. This has been a red letter day in my life, 22nd Feb 2019. I reoriented my kitchen. I started including a lot of raw vegetables, fresh seasonal fruits, green smoothies, and whole foods. I also took consultation under Dr. Nandita Shah for 3 months. I was taking Istavel, Amaryl, Ecobe for diabetes, and Cardace for hypertension. By the end of 3 months, I could not believe I was totally out of all my medication. I have lost 13 kilos of weight. I've become much more active, energetic, and calmer. There has been a major shift in my emotional and physical well-being. I remember when I had gone to the US for delivering my 3 grandchildren. By the end of the day, my body would ache and I would pop in painkillers after painkillers. It has been more than 3 years now since I have visited a hospital or a doctor. I also vividly remember when I had gone for the 4th delivery of my grandson, I was into this whole food plant-based diet, and I breezed through all the household responsibilities and taking care of the mother, the child, and the older grandchild, just like a butterfly. I also remember I beat COVID. Both my daughter and son-in-law got COVID and they were down. I was nursing them. I attribute this to the lifestyle which I followed, where my immunity is so strong. I have been an inspiration to my friends and family. My husband and my children are totally amazed at this transformation. Both my husband and both my daughters and their families have adapted to this lifestyle. Health is wealth. This is what we both are enjoying at this stage of our lives. I should also mention this. My husband, Sheshadri, has been instrumental in inspiring a lot of his friends and families and getting them into this whole food plant-based lifestyle. So this is what we are enjoying at this stage of our life. Thank you.
Congratulations. That must feel so wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shah, for doing
And
your...
I vouch for it because, I know that Prema and her husband was also my patient afterwards, and their friends and family, so many of them have got better with this lifestyle after, he inspires everyone to do it. So I'm going to go to my screen share now and start. One sec. Okay. Yeah. So we already talked about the topic today, type 2 diabetes, a life sentence. And before we go there, let's just say a little bit about what diabetes really is. Diabetes is when our body doesn't metabolize sugar well. And normally, if you see the diagram on the left-hand side, normally insulin is like a key. It opens a receptor on the muscle cell wall and allows insulin to enter. And insulin is needed by the muscle in order to metabolize the carbohydrates or the sugar inside the muscle in order to give the muscle energy. In diabetes, the insulin is there, but the key doesn't work because of insulin resistance. So, usually when people have diabetes, they go to the doctor and the doctor tells them, cut down your sugar and cut down your carbohydrates. And truly, they never get well that way. Just like Prema. Prema was on medicines and, the medicines kept on increasing, and then she was told to take insulin because there was so much insulin resistance. And she had already cut down her carbohydrates, but that doesn't work because sugar or carbohydrates are not the cause of diabetes. The main cause of diabetes is insulin resistance. And the cause of insulin resistance largely is fat. We are going to come to that. But when the sugar is not allowed to enter the cells, then we feel weakness because there's no energy in the cells, in the muscle cells. At the same time, there's a lot of sugar in the bloodstream. And so there's excess thirst, so that we drink more to throw out all that sugar, and then excess urination. So these are the three main symptoms of diabetes. And today, when we go to doctors, it's controlled with all kinds of medicines. And the reason that doesn't work is because medicines control symptoms. They reduce the blood sugar. But we don't want to just control symptoms. We want to cure diabetes. And in order to cure any disease, we have to remove the cause of the disease. So now we're going to look at what are the causes of diabetes. Number one, as I already said, fat. Fat is the biggest cause. And then lack of fiber. We're going to discuss each one of these. And then hormones. Insulin is a hormone, and all the hormones are orchestrated by the pituitary gland, and they're all in balance with each other. And when one hormone goes out of balance, others do too. And chemicals, because chemicals are hormone disruptors. And stress. So many people have got diabetes after some big stress in their lives. And after the stress gets resolved, the diabetes doesn't go away. And certain medications, we'll look at that today as well. And lack of exercise and lack of vitamin D. And tea, coffee, colas, tobacco, and other intoxicants raise blood sugars as well. So the biggest cause, as I said, is fat. Fat inside the muscle cells causes insulin resistance. It blocks the insulin receptors. So the insulin key doesn't work. It's blocked. And where is the fat coming from? It's coming from the fat on the body, but also the fat from the food. Like all the things that are fried or cooked in oil, and also animal products, So foods rich in fat are all animal products like boil meat, you get fat on top. You boil chicken, you get fat on top. You boil milk, you get fat on top. And all refined plant fats. That means oils or margarine. So oil, butter, and margarine, 100% of their calories come from fat, and they need to be totally avoided. But when I tell people this, they often ask me, well, what about olive oil? Could I have olive oil? Because people have heard that olive oil is good for you, or virgin coconut oil. And the truth is that even these are 100% fat, and fat is the biggest cause of diabetes. And so that's why we have so many cooking classes to help people learn how to cook without oil. And you can cook almost anything without oil and make it really delicious. And then lack of fiber. Fiber actually holds on to fat and helps usher it out. So animal products never contain fiber, but refined plant foods also don't contain fiber. So just to give you an example, if you boil milk, you get fat on top, or if you boil meat, you get fat on top. But if you boil peanuts or coconut or sesame, you don't get fat on top because the fiber is holding on to the fat. So we want to put fiber in our body to hold on to the fat and usher it out. And that's how Prema lost so much weight. She lost 13 kilos just by introducing a lot of fiber and taking out all the fat. And of course, processed foods usually don't contain fiber as well. So we want to avoid all these kind of foods. We want to eat whole foods like whole grain bread and whole beans and, vegetables without peeling them. So whole means eating something the way a monkey would eat. I'll just come to that. Good fats are peanuts or even peanut butter, the kind of peanut butter that's made just from crushing peanuts. If you go to Whole Foods, you have these machines where you can buy your peanuts and put them into the machine and get your butter, or you can put in almonds or whatever you like. And there you're really sure that you haven't added anything else except the ingredient you put into the machine. So that's the kind of peanut butter you want to have. And then almonds or cashews or other nuts. And we do have a rule about nuts that we shouldn't eat more than 10 per day. And that's because it's not the natural food for us. It's really hard to get inside a whole nut, to crack a nut open. And that's because it wasn't designed for us to eat in large quantities. And then seeds like sesame seeds or even grated coconut or tahini, which is like peanut butter. It's a sesame seed that has been crushed. And sunflower seeds, and you could even have sunflower seed butter or avocados. These are all good fats. So we can eat these in moderation. And whole foods that I was talking about is eating the way primates would. We are primates. Eating the way a monkey would. That means eat a watermelon just like a monkey would. Throw away the rind, but eat the flesh of the watermelon. Peel your bananas, but never your apples. That means that as a diabetic, you can eat as much fruit as you want. And I'm right now preparing for our 21-day retreat, which is in June. And June is the season in India of mangoes. And people come from all over the world for the retreat. And what they love is that they can eat mangoes. Some of them have diabetes and they haven't eaten fruit for such a long time. And now they can eat as much fruit as they like. So we often have a rule that you can't eat fruit with your meals, but we start the day with fruit and green smoothies, and you can replace any meal you like with fruit and green smoothies. And because, people love mangoes and all the other tropical fruits that are there, they often replace meals which are also delicious. We have buffet spreads, but they replace their meal with fruit every now and then, and they find their sugars going down because fruit has fiber in it. Now, fruit juice does not. So fruit juice is not allowed, but whole fruits are allowed. Or like peanuts are allowed, or peanut butter is allowed, but peanut oil is not because the fiber has been removed. So we want to be really careful and make sure that we have whole foods. And that's why we don't use sugar or other sweeteners that don't have fiber in them, but we use dates or raisins, and we make all kinds of fabulous desserts. So the things to avoid are honey, no fiber there, or molasses, or even stevia, which is a refined leaf, and it's too sweet. It doesn't bring down our craving for sweets. And we definitely don't want to use chemicals like xylitol or agave because it has no fiber, or maple syrup because it has no fiber. So instead of that, we just use date paste or raisin paste. And we don't want to use jaggery either. Jaggery is very commonly used in India, and it's dried up sugarcane juice. And of course, that also doesn't have the fiber. So we want to replace white rice with whole rice, replace anything that's refined with the whole product. Now, diabetes is a hormonal problem, and it's linked to other hormonal problems like hypothyroidism or PCOD or infertility, all kinds of hormonal problems. And so we have to think about how do we remove hormonal imbalance. And one of the main causes of hormonal imbalance is animal products, because animals, just like us, produce the same hormones that we do. So when we consume their flesh or their secretions, we are consuming their hormones as well, and that can make our hormonal balance imbalanced. And then medicines, like any medicine that contains hormones, for example, oral contraceptive pills or steroids, these can cause hormonal imbalance. And vitamin D is also a hormone, and sometimes people take too much or too little of it, and that can also cause imbalance. And then chemicals are hormone disruptors. So where are the chemicals coming from? It could be from the food, like the conventionally grown food. So it's always better to eat organic, or as much organic as you can, because pesticides are chemicals and they don't come off conventionally grown foods, no matter how much you wash them, because just like us, if you put something on the skin of plants, it goes inside. And packaged foods, so often packaged foods look like they're innocent, but if you look at all the ingredients, there'll be ingredients that you can't even pronounce in many of them. So don't eat those packaged foods. And then, as I was saying, anything that we put on our body is absorbed. Like, for example, if your skin is dry and you put oil on it, it gets absorbed. If you put lotion on it, it gets absorbed. But if you look at that bottle of lotion, you can see so many ingredients. These are all chemicals and they're getting absorbed. So if you have dry skin and you want to put something on your skin, put something that you would not fear to put in your mouth, like the oil that you took out of your kitchen. You can put that on your body to just moisten your skin after a shower. Just put a little bit of that, and don't use lotions or other things that have chemicals. All these cosmetics and potions and perfumes, especially perfumes, have a huge number of chemicals. And toothpaste, we often don't look at that. And soaps and shampoos and deodorants and hand sanitizers. And so We should always look for the ingredients and try to use personal care products that don't have too many bad ingredients. And nowadays, you can often buy these kind of personal care products because so many people are suffering from hormonal imbalance. And we shouldn't forget that medicines are also chemicals. So when Prema wanted to get better, it was important for me to reduce the medicines one by one, because as she gets better, if I don't reduce medicine, she's not going to get better and better because she's taking in chemicals through the medicine. So, and then there are certain medicines that people take which induce diabetes, like steroids or thiazide diuretics that are often given for high blood pressure, and beta blockers that are given for high blood pressure, and antipsychotics, and statins like Lipitor or Crestor. So it's really important whenever you're prescribed a medicine, it would be good to go to the internet and look up the side effects of that medicine, because it's just good to be aware that medicines are not a kind of panacea that is good for us. Medicines always have their own side effects, and as the body heals, if we don't reduce medicines, then it cannot heal even more, because it always has to manage those medicines as well as the healing at the same time. So, just to give you an example, I've seen people come into our 21-day program with 24 different medicines and go out on only 4. And that's because they're given so many medicines that cause other effects, and then medicines for that, and medicines for the side effects of those. And if we start removing medicines, they just get better and better so fast. And then there are home care products, which also contribute to chemicals in our body, because we can breathe in chemicals, like all those scented candles or incense sticks or window cleaners or toilet cleaners or floor cleaners. All of these strong smelling substances are things that we're breathing in. They're chemicals that are entering our body through our respiratory system. And so we got to use less harmful home care products as well. And then there are the chemicals in our kitchen. So for example, if you drink bottled water, have you noticed that it even tastes different because the chemicals are leaching in from the plastic? So it's really important to minimize the use of plastic in the kitchen. Avoid non-stick, because Teflon is also something that can enter our food, and aluminum as well. It would be really best to use steel or glassware or ceramic ware or stoneware, but not aluminum. And then chemicals also enter through the environment. And so we can't do much about that, but here's what we can do. Avoid putting chemicals into the environment, because everything that we put in the garbage goes to a landfill and comes back to bite us in some way, because it enters our water bodies or the land, and it's affecting us. So we need to minimize chemicals everywhere. Make sure that your foods are organic, avoid packaged foods, reduce medications with the help of a doctor always, and reduce personal care products, or use chemical-free personal care products, and reduce home care products as well. And if you go to our YouTube channel, we have a special playlist called Eco Kaki, where there's someone who teaches you how to make cleaning products or personal care products just with things from your kitchen, so that they'll never be harmful. And then dairy, we often undermine how harmful dairy is. Dairy contains insulin-like growth factor. Insulin-like. It looks like insulin and it takes the place of insulin on those insulin receptors. And so the insulin doesn't work anymore. And so we want to not consume dairy at all. This is what I said, insulin causes insulin resistance, IGF causes insulin resistance because it takes the place of insulin on the receptors. So it's like putting a key into a lock that doesn't really belong there. And so it can't open the door, but it can't come out, and it blocks that receptor. And that's why we really want to avoid dairy. Dairy is harmful in so many ways. One, it's full of fat, and milk is full of fat, but cheese is 70% fat. So we definitely want to avoid that. And cream is fat itself. So we really want to avoid all the fat in dairy. And it's not just the fat that's harmful. There are other things. So we don't want to have skim milk either, because there's no fiber in milk. And there are hormones. You know, cows are made pregnant in order that they'll deliver a baby, and so they'll produce milk, because they can't produce milk without delivering a baby. But within 2 months of that delivery, they're made pregnant again, so that when their milk cycle stops or their lactation stops, they'll deliver soon after and they'll start lactating again. So just to keep them lactating all the time so that we can have all the milk. But then, because they're pregnant and lactating, the amount of hormones in the milk is so much higher. Some people say 10 times higher than a cow who's not pregnant. And so we're having a lot more hormones through the milk. And remember that hormones from animal products can imbalance the hormones in our body. And then chemicals. How does dairy contain chemicals? Because, you know, the cows are not always fed the best food. They may be fed food that's sprayed with pesticides. And because they are always being manipulated with milk machines and they have injuries to their udders, they're given antibiotics all the time, and antibiotics find their ways into our body through dairy as well. And then milk, we spoke about how it contains IGF. And milk is a foreign protein in our body because every mammal produces milk only for their young, and we're not calves. And this foreign protein can cause type 1 diabetes. So that's a good reason not to have dairy. And dairy, like all animal products, is full of free radicals. Free radicals are the opposite of antioxidants. So they cause an inflammatory reaction in the body. And dairy is full of stress. You know, when we are stressed, we produce adrenaline and stress hormones. And when cows are stressed, they produce the same hormones. But cows are always stressed because they're continuously impregnated and their babies are taken away from them. And when they are spent, they're sent to slaughter. So that's not a life, obviously. And then naturally never happy. They're always stressed. And those stress hormones are coming back to us. And a few other causes of diabetes are lack of rest. Rest at the right time. You know, nowadays, so many people stay up till late at night and then get up with an alarm and rush to work. And rest and exercise are equally important. So if we don't get enough rest, we might find ourselves eating more, and that could cause diabetes. And if we don't get enough exercise, that's bad too. And tea, coffee, colas, alcohol, smoking actually raise blood sugar levels. And so we need to avoid them altogether. And I know that sounds scary for some, but once you're out of all the addictive substances, it's actually a relief because nothing controls you. You're in control of your body. So in summary, fruits and whole carbohydrates are not bad for us. You can actually have as much fruit as you like. Fat and refined carbohydrates are dangerous and should be avoided. Refined carbohydrates. Whole carbohydrates are okay. You could have whole brown rice or whole potatoes or even sweet potatoes. That's fine. And that's why many people, when they change their diet, they're happier. And the biggest enemy is milk. Just because so many things have milk in it, you know, even packages of food, they put milk because milk is addictive. So they put milk powder into even flavoring potato chips where it's not required because it's addictive. And so milk looks so innocent, and we've been brought up thinking that milk is a perfect food. And that's why I say it's the biggest enemy, because it's hard to imagine that milk is so bad for diabetes. And chemicals are hormone disruptors, and lack of vitamin D is a hormone, also contributes to diabetes. And of course, as you know from Prema's story, medicines never cure. They just go on spiraling upwards. And so we have to take charge of our health if we want to get free of diabetes. Now, before I go on, and I do have some more slides to share, I'm going to ask Palak to join us. And I'll just stop my share. And Palak helped her mother get free from diabetes. So Palak, would you like to share that story?
Yeah, sure, doctor. So in September 2020, I hope I'm audible.
Yes.
I'm audible? Yeah.
Yes.
I'll start. In September 2020, my mom was diagnosed with diabetes, and doctors gave her medicines, but medicines were not working. So they just put her on insulin after just 10-15 days. And then when I met my mom, there was a lot of difference in her. I was not able to connect with that kind of a mom. She used to have a lot of mood swings. She used to feel lethargic, not at all. She would move around, and she used to be a very bubbly person. And I don't know what happened to her. And then in again April 21, she came to Ahmedabad to stay with me for a knee surgery, and we took her to a knee surgeon, where I came to know that despite of all insulin and all the fias and lentils, sugar levels were around 300 to 400. So doctor had asked her to take care of a diet and bring down the sugar. And I knew that now she is with me, I'll put her on a SHARAN diet and convince her to start this journey. And to our surprise, within 2 months, her sugar levels were quite normal, and her insulin were reduced to 3-4 times. And luckily, we got her knee surgery was not done. And best part was she's such a wonderful cook that whenever I used initially for 2 months or 1 month, I was teaching her. After that, now she is someone who is helping me around in my recipe, cracking the recipes. Whenever I'm stuck, she's there to help me around. So it was a wonderful journey. And I got my mom back, my bubbly mom back with the SHARAN lifestyle. So thanks to Dr. Nandita.
Thank you, Palak, for sharing. And that's really fantastic because, you know, not only did she get free of diabetes, or at least her blood sugars came down, but because of that, her knee problem also disappeared, right? And that's so important.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go back to sharing my screen again. And we were here. So the plan that Palak asked her mother to do is our 5-point plan that everything that we eat should be plant-based. Everything should be whole food. And we talked about what that is. Everything should be organic as far as possible. And vitamin B12 and vitamin D should be checked and supplemented just as required. And how to supplement them, that's also on our website under Try Vegan. Now, why should we reverse diabetes? First of all, medicines are bad and they have their own side effects. But diabetes itself has so many complications, right from head to foot. So it can cause cerebrovascular disease and stroke, or it can cause adult blindness and retinopathy. It can also cause gangrene and amputations or kidney failure, cardiovascular problems, neuropathy. So many people have neuropathy, and this can be reversed when we reverse diabetes, as well as increased chances of heart disease and stroke, and an important thing, impotency or erectile dysfunction, which is so common, can be reversed when we reverse diabetes. And of course, when women are pregnant, they can have diabetes. It's called gestational diabetes. And this is dangerous for both the mother and the child. Now, there are some medicines that are given for diabetes, which can actually force the pancreas to produce more insulin, resulting in the burnout of the pancreas, after which the doctor just puts the patient on insulin. And so these medicines are so harmful. And therefore, whenever I'm seeing a patient, the first medicine that I cut down are the ones that are the most harmful, like the sulfonylureas, the glimepiride and glipizide and all these, as well as, and they come under trade names, Amaryl. Prema talked about Amaryl or Reclide or Glinase, etc. And so these should be avoided completely. A few myths about diabetes. Sugar is the cause of diabetes. No, it's not. That doesn't mean we should have sugar in its refined form, but you can have sugar in the form, in the natural form, as in fruit, not fruit juice, but fruit. People with diabetes can eat fruit if they like. Then myths, another myth, that low carb, high fat diet or a keto diet is good for diabetes. When someone's on a keto diet, their blood sugars will come down initially. But because of the accumulation of fat in the body, it will not stay down, and eventually they'll need more medication. And medicines cure diabetes? Never. Right? Whenever someone's on medicines are only controlling symptoms, and we really have to cure diabetes by understanding the cause, which is what we did today, and removing it. And people with diabetes should eat every 2 hours, not at all true. How should we eat? We should eat only when we are hungry. So we often have these myths in our mind because this lie is often repeated by so many people, even doctors sometimes. Like I've had patients tell me that their doctor told them that they need to have more, like eat every 2 hours or more frequent meals. Now, some references, and the first reference I want to talk about is Dr. Neil Barnard's program for reversing diabetes. This book was my own inspiration, and it's just a fantastic book. For people of Indian origin, I've written this book, Reversing Diabetes in 21 Days, and it shares my experiences from the 21-day program. That's where I learned so much about how diabetes can actually be reversed. And this is another fantastic book, Dr. Gabriel Cousin's book, There is a Cure for Diabetes. which I think is also a spiritual book in some ways. And then Dr. Joel Fuhrman's book, The End of Diabetes. And as I always say, reversing disease requires a shift in consciousness because it's always difficult to change our habits. And we are living in a culture of disease, but once we change the habits, it's really easy to live with a new habit. Like you saw Palak's mother, even in her, the age that she had, she was able to change her lifestyle and now even helps Palak with her cooking classes. I think that's really amazing. So what are the ways that SHARAN can help you? We have these free publications on our website. You just go to About Us and Publications and you can download them. And two of them are in Indian, like Hindi and Gujarati, but the other two are in English. One is a recipe book and one talks about how to change your diet for health. And then there's my Reversing Diabetes in 21 Days, as well as a Gujarati version of it, in case you have any Indian viewers, Chef AJ. And we also have a 21-day online diabetes reversal program. That's a program that you can work on all by yourself at home, at your own pace. And we also have consultations. If you go to our website, then right in the middle, that yellow square, if you click on that, you can go into consultations. Now, I just want to share that we have a special discount going on right now for World Health Day, which started on the 7th of April, and the discount lasts till 7th of May. So if you want to look at any of these things, do have a look as soon as possible. I'm going to end now, but before I end, I want to invite Dr. Lakshmi to talk about her experiences. Dr. Lakshmi is one of our doctors. She's a diabetologist, and she's also been treating diabetics and diabetic foot in the hospital. But now she's working with so many patients with whole food plant-based diet and has had fantastic results and does programs for diabetics as well. So Dr. Lakshmi, please share your experiences.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Nandita, for the introduction. Well, I am a board-certified lifestyle medicine physician. I moved from conventional practice of treating symptoms, as what we've been taught in medical school, towards a wellness approach in the last 2 to 3 years. And I've been seeing a lot of patients with diabetes, and I run a program called Defeat Diabetes at SHARAN, where I work with a chef, because the idea of the program is it's an online program. We run it for about 6 weeks with a 3-month consultation where I work with the chef and we teach people how to transition to a whole food plant-based lifestyle. We also teach them kitchen hacks and how to plan a meal and everything. So that's a program that I do, and I've learned a lot from that experience. And we've seen at work that when people transition to a whole food plant-based, when they cut off all the processed, refined food in their diet and move towards more whole food, eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and also change the other parameters in their life, like move a lot, walk, strength train, address sleep issues, their stress levels, we do see a lot of people able to go off medicines. That's one way. Many of my patients, about 75 to 80% of them, are off medication in about 3 to 6 months' time. And they've been sustaining it because in lifestyle medicine, what we do is make lifestyle changes sustainable. So they've been able to sustain it, and I have the longest follow-up of mine is about 3 years, where the A1C is still around 5.1, 5.2. That's one group of people. And there are a small group of people who are not being able to completely go off medication. The requirement of medication does come down. But what this lifestyle does is it helps address all the complications of diabetes. We see them more energetic, far more, healthier. And medication requirement gets minimal. To quote an example, I recently saw a young lady, about 35 years old, with diabetes. She was on a lot of medications, had reduced her medication, still on a low dose metformin when I just saw her last. But what was surprising is before she came to me, she had seen an ophthalmologist who had said, you have some retinal problems and you may have to have an intravitreal injection. So during the course of the consultation, towards the end of the consultation, she asked me if she could go back to the ophthalmologist and get her eye treated. I said, yes, you're young, so please do go back and get your eyes checked and treated. When she went back to the ophthalmologist, they were surprised that all the inflammatory changes had come down and she didn't need treatment at all for her issue that was there in the eye. So that is the power of whole food plant-based diet. So there is a lot of hope. There is something called a wellness approach. And I'm sure that genes do not determine our destiny. And there is every possible way that we could reverse, manage, and prevent diabetes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi, for sharing. And, it's been so wonderful to have you with us because you've helped so many patients with all your past experience and, of course, with your new experience in whole food plant-based. That's really amazing. And, since Chef AJ, your audience always likes to see recipes and cooking shows. So we have Palak and Prema are going to show 2 recipes. Palak is going to start with a pulao. And the reason she's showing pulao is because most diabetics are told not to have rice. But now she's going to make one with brown rice and with lots of vegetables so that people can enjoy their rice and it won't harm their diabetes.
Right.
So, Palak, would you like to start with yours? Are you ready?
I appreciate everything you're teaching because most diabetics think they can't have whole grains, they can't have fruit, all the foods that you and Dr. Lakshmi have given your patients to actually heal and reverse the disease. I have one question though. I love the slide that you had with the various sugars on it, because I know jaggery is very popular in India. And like you, I haven't used sugar in 20 years. I use dates, and I mainly whole or made into a paste. I never thought about raisin paste though. I bet that would be absolutely delicious. I'm curious how you feel about date syrup, because date syrup is my understanding that while more processed, it's still a whole food because, I have been able to make it in my own kitchen by cooking it with water, boiling it and blending it. So maybe not as optimal as date paste. How do you feel about date syrup?
Oh, well, if you make it in your kitchen and you're not straining it, then it's perfectly fine. But the one that you buy in the shop, that doesn't have any fiber. But when we don't strain, it's like a smoothie. If you blend it really well, then it's fine.
Great, thank you. I need to tell you, you have a fan in the United States. Dr. Hans Deal, the founder of the CHIP program, watches your show every month. He said your presentation on cancer and GERD were the best that he's ever seen.
Oh, that's so kind.
I have to introduce you to him. Hopefully he'll be watching this one as well. So we're going to highlight Palak, right?
Yes.
Let me get in the correct mode. So let's put your spotlight here and your spotlight here. So that should be both of your cameras.
Should I redo this thing? My top view?
You look good to me. I see you on the left and your pot on the right.
No, it's on the vertical.
Fine, Palak. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to show the recipe which my mom used to love. And earlier we used to use white rice for this. And today I'm going to show this recipe with brown rice. Now, usually the diabetes are told not to eat rice, but they are not supposed to eat the white rice. You can have the rice that are unpolished. So you can have brown rice, red rice, or even the black rice that is called forbidden rice. or even you can make this recipe with millets also, or quinoa also, or anything that is handy to you. And this is a very easy recipe. It's just a one pot meal. What you have to do, you have to just soak brown rice for 8 to 10 hours. I'll just show how they look after 8 to 10 hours. So this is how the brown rice look after 8 to 10 hours. So I've just roughly washed with water and soaked it in water. And I'm going to use some spices, as Indians love spices, and it's a very simple one pot meal recipe. I'm using some cloves, and the recipe I've given, what I am making is just 1/8 portion of it. So 1 stick of cinnamon, some unrefined salt. We don't use refined salt as it's high in all the, because sea salt is derived from sea, and lot of plastic particles and other stuff come into salt with the seawater. Some whole peppercorns, cardamom, some coriander leaf. It is wilted because it's very hot here. Some saffron strands, some lemon wedges for decoration, and 1 bay leaf. And I have got some vegetables that I've already steamed. So you know what? Whenever you are making a pulao with brown rice or red rice, it's better that you steam your vegetables and keep aside. Make your rice, and when your rice is about to cook, or I mean it's almost done, then only you add your veggies. Otherwise, it's going to be very mushy. And here I've used carrot, and I have not peeled the carrot. Can you see the peel? The peel is still there. Now, we don't peel our veggies because all the nutrition lies beneath the skin. So never peel your veggies, and always it is always better to steam your vegetables, like beet potato. We have potato and sweet potato also with the skin, or pumpkin or squash. Everything we have with skin, and we always steam it instead of boiling in water. So now I'm going to just going to heat the stove. And while my stove is heating, I'm just going to add my spices here. So, you know, when you are roasting your spices and using whole, it's going to give you a very nice aroma to your dishes. And if you don't have all these spices, you can use any Indian curry powder or any Indian masala that is available in the Indian stores. I'm just gently going to roast it. Smell the aroma of the spices. I forgot to add the bay leaf. Roughly chopped. And now I'm going to keep my spices up. And I'm going to add my brown rice. I've discarded the water and added new water. So I'm just going to add it with the water. I'm just going to switch on the gas. Add saffron strands. It's going to give a very nice aroma. Salt. And these spices. And now I'm going to keep it covered and let it cook for around 10 to 15 minutes. Just check after every 15 minutes. If you need more water, just add some more water. Now, it's going to take quite a long time. I have one batch prepared already for you. So after 10-15 minutes or 20 minutes, it's going to look like this. This is already done. Can you see how nicely the rice are cooked?
and it has got a nice flavor and color of saffron. So now it's very simple. I'm just going to add my veggies. Just add, and you know what, the recipe is going to be there, but if you want to use like just 1 cup of rice and like 3-4 cups of vegetables, you can go ahead and use. You can use your potato, pumpkin squash, whatever veggies it's available. You just go ahead and use it. And can you see how colorful it's look? Just, and your pulao is ready to serve. So I'm just going to switch on off the gas. And first I'm going to transfer it in the bowl. I'm just pressing a bit. And now I'm just going to put my plate upside down and serve my pulao like this. So can you see how beautiful does it look? I'm going to serve with some lemon wedges. So it was so easy to make a pulao, and it's a 1-pot recipe. And in case if you don't have time, you can keep your steamed vegetables and a batch of brown rice or millet or quinoa ready in your fridge, and you can just assemble all the things with different kind of spices, and your pulao is ready.
That looked delicious, but you can make more if you want, right? You can make a bigger batch.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Because that wouldn't be enough for me. Lovely. Do you guys ever use Instant Pots or pressure cookers? Maybe you don't have Instant Pot in India, but do you ever use a pressure cooker?
Yeah, we use pressure cooker, and this thing can be done in Instapot also. So just the way I have done in the pan, same way you can do that in the Instapot.
Great, lovely.
And if you don't have time to steam the vegetables in the last, when your rice is about to cook, I mean, when you are about to switch off the Instapot, just add your veggie and switch off the Instapot or pressure cooker.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay, great. Sorry, go ahead.
So what have you got next for us?
Prema is going to show a recipe that goes with the pulao. And so it's going to be a raita. It's similar to the raita that we saw the last time, but now with a different set of vegetables. So Prema, are you ready?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. So your other camera isn't showing. So please, could you just do it with this camera?
I got the wrong camera.
Okay. So what do I do? Okay, I have all the ingredients. How do I show it, Doc? This camera is on, but why is it not showing? Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. Just a minute.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the second camera.
You can't see?
Not yet. Only you.
Just a minute.
Dr. Shah, I love the hats that everyone wears.
Yeah, it's to keep the hair out of the food as well.
They're nice.
Yeah.
I know the tech part's so, it's like, if people don't know, every month Dr. Shah has really dived deep into a different disease. She's done gastroesophageal reflux disease. She's done cancer. So please, if this is the first time watching, please check some of the previous episodes.
So it's not coming in, Doc?
No, Prema, I think let's not waste time. Okay. We'll just go straight for the front view.
Yes, it's not done.
Right. So I have, today I'm going to present you a delicious raita. I was very fond of yogurt before I turned into a whole food plant-based diet. And I replaced my dairy yogurt with plant-based yogurt like peanut yogurt or almond or cashew or oat yogurt. Today I'm preparing a peanut, spinach, carrot raita, which is very delicious. It is very filling and it has a very cooling effect on the body. I have a bowl of peanut yogurt with me and I have all the ingredients. I don't know how to show this, but yes, I have all the ingredients on the table. I don't know how to. Okay, I will show it one by one. Spinach, cooked spinach. And then I have raw grated carrots. Then I have salt to taste, which is a pink salt, rock salt. And then I have few fresh, finely cut green chilies. Then I have roasted cumin powder and some fresh coriander leaves for garnishing. So let's get started. I will add spinach to the.
Did you say peanut yogurt?
Yes, this is a peanut yogurt. You could replace it with cashew, oat, or almond yogurt, whichever yogurt you could get from the store.
I've never heard of peanut yogurt. That's interesting.
Yes, I made this in the house. It's homemade. Then you add grated carrot. Add salt to taste. A few green chilies. Chilies again, according to your taste, you add. Then a little of a half a teaspoon of roasted cumin powder. Mix well. It is very colorful. It actually has 3 colors which represent our Indian flag. Orange, green, and white. And then you could garnish it with coriander leaves. This is a great accompaniment for the pulao. Also, this makes a great meal by itself as a salad. It could go well with the breads, with quinoa, with millets, and of course the pulao or jeera rice. Delicious peanut yogurt is ready. Peanut, spinach, carrot yogurt is ready.
That's blowing my mind. I never heard of peanut yogurt. I've heard of coconut and almond and soy. Who knew you could make yogurt out of peanuts?
Yeah, and the recipe's on our website. So
yes,
anyone can go there and make it from our website if they want to. We usually make peanut and rice yogurt, and all of them are great.
Wow. Let me put you back in speaker mode. Well, Dr. Shah, you bring on the most interesting guests, wonderful chefs, success stories. We love it. Do you know what other diseases, if you will, you're going to be covering in future months?
Yeah, so the next time we're going to do a topic. It's hormonal havoc. And it's about all the other kind of hormonal problems, because nowadays we have so many hormonal problems like premature puberty and PCOD and menstrual problems and prostate enlargement and breast cancer and prostate cancer. So we'll be talking about how all of these can be prevented. And if you have them, how you can reverse them by once again understanding the causes of the disease.
I love it. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for the work you're doing.
Thank you, Chef AJ, for the amazing work that you're doing.
It's
always a pleasure to be
It's
with
so fun
you.
connecting with you. I think you're my guest. I have one guest from Australia, one from India. So this is wonderful. Like, I'd love to get more people from all over the globe that are so passionate about doing this. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow for Heart to Heart with our plant-based cardiologist, Dr. Columbus Batiste. Take care, everyone.